Welcome to the School of Wordcraft and Worldmancy. This is Feedback Frenzy.
Hello, I'm WriterGreg, and welcome to the School of Worldcraft and Worldmancy. It's another Feedback Frenzy, where we critique other up to 1,500 words of fiction or a world-building article for your enjoyment and edification and education. If you would like to have your content critiqued, please visit wgc.bz/submit for your opportunity to have your content critiqued live on Feedback Frenzy. All right, let's get into it. We have a fiction article here that has been provided to us by Vegan Atheist Coral. It is called Arramu. It is the beginning draft and just has some questions about it. So we're going to go ahead, jump into it, see how we like it, and then do that. Now this, oops, it disappeared. This draft is about 4,000 words long. So we'll go for about the first 6 or 7 pages, see how it's feeling, and then we'll go back and critique it afterwards. So let's view. It's better to use this view instead of the Chrome view. There we go. And I'll just go ahead right now and apologize for any mispronunciations of the words, specifically proper nouns and names, that may have been made up for this world. All right, let's get into this. Mela stepped out of her sleeping socks. The floor clicked. A slat of wood spun, dropping the sleeping socks. Her feet still ached from her training, but she felt energized. She pressed the blinking green triangle button on the wall next to her without thinking. Behind it, electronics, gears, and mechanics ground and buzzed. She stretched toward the ceiling, trying to touch it. Her petite frame would never make it, but the stretch helped center her for the day. As she breathed out, the green triangle turned red. She pressed it again. A metal section of the wall fell into the floor, revealing pipes running the length of her body. It puffed, powdery cleaning agent. She turned. It blew again. She spun. A blast of air smacked her. She hated it. She turned again to be greeted with another punch of air. The triangle turned purple, and the metal section slid up, covering the pipes. She walked over to a slot that opened a few feet away. Her uniform was nicely folded and waiting. The corners of her lips twitched. On the outside, it was wrapped in digital twine. Once her DNA touched it, a message appeared on the wall in front of her. The weather was rainy yet again, and it was always raining, which was great for water reclamation. The digital twine opened. She shook it out. She shook out the one piece. It was a nude-colored pantsuit. The top had thick nude straps across Mela's body, from her left shoulder down to her right hip, to denote her status at training. Her brown boot color was another status marker for others. She was at a horrible age. Everyone expects this and that. While everyone wanted her to study hard, she wanted to be outside. She lived for running through the hiking trails, hanging from cliffs, and diving in the river to swim for miles, pushing her body until past aching. Those brown shoes told her she would be hiking today. She hummed while dressing, her thoughts on the reprieve she would have from agriculture, home studies, and tech study trainings. She slid her arm in the slot. A wristband snapped on her wrist, then melted into her flesh. 2 moments later, it vibrated the tender spot of the underside of her wrist. Mila smiled. Her best friend, Squirr, was already pinging. She tapped it twice, her response letting him know she was on her way. Her plans were interrupted. She took 2 steps and received a low rumble ping. She sighed. Parental units needed to speak with her first. She tapped a quick tap response to Square to let him know. The door of her pod opened and she sighed again. The silver metal hallway was crowded from the thrums of people walking to their destinations silently. She expertly slid into the unnatural, silent river of morning commuters. She followed the group for 2 meters, then slid to the right edge. Another meter, she stepped out of the flow in front of a slate gray door. She waved her hand above the triangle in the center of the door. It slid open. She needs to know. Jacques Monty's voice sounded urgent yet gentle. She will. Blaze's strong voice always sounded authoritative, but this time there was a hint of concern as he dropped his usual enunciation. She only has a week to decide, Jacques Montiel urged. Instead of a response, everyone's wrists vibrated to welcome Mila into the conversation. The parental units appeared in the standard adult uniforms. Jacques Monty was large in every manner of speaking, even personality. She thrived here. The pink uniform showed her high status within the community, crested in various jewels and gems of the awards of her selflessness. Her crisscross pattern was over her voluptuous breasts and womb to show her caretaking status, the most envied of the jobs assigned for women. Mila, however, secretly hoped she didn't get that assignment. The pit of Mila's stomach flopped as she wondered if that was what they were discussing. Will she finally get her assignment? She was the last of her peers and age bracket to officially know. Everyone else had known almost immediately after their first burst of puberty. Biologically, she had yet to get hers. Blaze shifted his long, muscular frame, his uniform crested with deep sapphires and emerald gems. Not as envied as his partner, but Mila's favorite colors because they reminded her of the forest. The blue gems denoted his dedication to his assignment, water reclamation. In contrast, the emeralds dusted up to his neck in an ombre to shades grayer the closer to his thick neck. They symbolized his seat on the council and showed his level of authority within the community. Mila, we have summoned you to this unscheduled meeting because you have recently become a topic at the council meetings. His deep baritone gave everyone shivers. Me? Mila shifted glances from Blaze to Jacques Monty. Blaze's dark features showed no emotions, while Jacques Monty's face was littered with deepening wrinkles from worry. Why? Mila asked. Blaze's head cocked slightly. There is something you have failed to report in our last meeting. Mila shook her head. Okay. Is there something you have failed to report in our last meeting? Mila shook her head. What's your hypothesis? The question was typical of his training style during her home studies. Logic was his rule book. No person should ever be the topic of this community. It made no sense. It was against community policy and ethics to address a singular person. Jacques Monty's frown deepened. Mila's memories shifted around. There was a story she heard a very long time ago. It was an ancient legend she had read in ancient history about a mythological person who died for society's benefit. He was idolized. His sacrifice was corrupted by factions of people who killed each other in his name for their own ideals. It disgusted Mila. She shrugged. Why would such a story come to mind? Is the council concerned by my lack of assignment? Correct. He nodded. And An approving smile dented his smooth brick-red skin, showing his perfectly aligned pearl teeth. As you know, the council shall not speak of an individual unless doing so shall behoove the entirety of the society. There is some concern that in the 12-18 cycle bracket, you have not shown any inclination toward any structured assignment. Are you not prepared for the upgrade to adulthood? My training has been more than adequate for my upgrade. It was Mila's standard response, and it was the response everyone should give. However, this time she added, "Are they sending me to the caregivers to determine why biological puberty has been blocked?" Blaise didn't answer her question. Instead, Jacques Monty spoke in her calm voice. "Did you decide what assignment you prefer?" she asked. Jacques Monty understood how people thought and could empathize. Then she knew exactly what to say to merge the person back into the collective. Every person's assignment must align with their skill set, but it is meaningless if the person hates the duty. "Non-productive," Blaise interrupted. Mila took a moment. "During my daily meditation last night, I calculated that the best probable assignment would be agriculture. I excelled in botany and arboretum and other natural science divisions like biology, geology, zoology, and archaeology. However, with agriculture, I can help the community feed itself." "You failed agriculture twice. Why would the community trust your skills? Wouldn't one of the other natural sciences fit you better?" Blaise asked. "My mind would grow bored as it comes to me too easy. I prefer to challenge myself, which would ensure I would not be shifted too often from a bored mind. Studies show human minds need challenges, puzzles, and such to maintain a healthy brain. A healthy individual benefits society as a whole." Jacques Monty gave Blaise a nudge. He rubbed his temples. "You will most likely receive your uniform tomorrow. I suggest you clear your expectations. You may go meet Squire now." Squire? He turned and left Jacques Monty alone with Mila. She glided effortlessly along the muted gray ceramic tiles towards Mila. A slight clicking could be heard in the sleeping unit. Blaise was most likely getting into the meditation pod to analyze their conversations. He, no doubt, had a meeting with the council. "I know your stay with us was shocking, but I do believe that we have helped you prepare for your adulthood." Jacques Monty's plush lips quivered. "I have never failed with any of my offspring units. Did I do something wrong? Were my responses not logical and beneficial for our community?" Mila looked behind Jacques Monty's perfectly straight, slick auburn hair to the room Blaise was meditating in. Jacques Monty initiated personal contact. Her hands were ice cold. The last parental unit to touch Mila's hands was when she was left to live with Jacques Monty and Blaise for their experienced guidance. It was a different pod. The 10th pod. No other offspring moved family units as much as she has. Inadequately paired, one parental unit suggested. "Every person has a duty to the community. It can be a challenge to remember the importance of our society's rules and ethics." She sighed. "There have been reports, anonymous reports, of course, stating that an individual has skipped certain training for personal activities." Mila's heart pounded in her ears. "Also reported is the encouragement from one to others to help this person to break our laws, which benefit our community." Mila struggled to formulate the correct response. "Mila, calm down. Her light blue colored eyes widened. Jacques Monty pulled Mila gently. She pressed the orange triangle on the wall. Sections of silver walls spun and bent into a seat. Jacques Monty sat Mila down on the surprisingly soft chairs. Perfect timing. Mila suddenly felt faint. Jacques Monty pressed a maroon triangle, surprising Mila when a cool towel was placed upon her hot neck. I am not speaking of this to concern you. I know your mind is more at peace when you are more physical than others. I have been monitoring your studies, and they have only benefited from your breaks. I'll remind you not to involve others. Wait. Scroll. Okay. We're halfway through. I'm going to keep reading. I'm liking this. I am failing expectations again? Is that what you're not telling me? Mila asked. Jacques Monty's blue-green eyes didn't flinch. Yes and no. Mila's brows furrowed. Do you remember the dreams you spoke of during your xenoarchaeology classes? Mila grimaced. Of course. You said it was just my imagination analyzing new possibilities that many creative people dream like me. What do you remember most about those dreams? What does it matter? They stopped immediately. Mila stiffened her back and removed the cloth that had warmed her body temperature. Did the cloth warm her body temperature, or was the cloth warmed to her body temperature? Because I thought it was is it a hot towel or a cool towel that she was given? Whatever. Come on. Jacques Monty held out her hand for the cloth which Mila handed over. Suddenly, her ice-cold hands were gripping Mila's. Every day, the individual's choice affects the community. By ignoring rules, breaking our laws, and not communicating with your mentors, you hurt your society. Our society only works when all people follow the majority. I know you have had dreams again, and you failed to report them. Mila shook her hand free. I don't know what you're speaking of. To not report a dream is a direct violation. I may have traded shoes with a person or two, so I could have some time hiking, but that was not for personal activities. If someone asked, I would have told the truth. What is your truth? Not every person living here is happy to live in a place like this where every second of every day is calculated and decided for them. Do you feel this way? That would be illegal. I was merely testing my peers to see who was willing to bend our laws and who was willing to break them. For what? To what purpose? It is our duty to anonymously report these people, but you have yet to come forth with any reports. Are you advising that our reports are not anonymous? Please answer the question. I am still investigating the group, and I do not want to spook them by involving the adults. I believe I know who is the main dissident. You are playing a dangerous game, Mila. You are not an investigator. This should be left to the council. Since you admit fault, it will be taken under advisement. Your rations will be smaller, and your outdoor Halo training will be reduced to 1 hour a day for this week. Now that my official role is completed, I will offer you some personal advice. Trust is hard to earn once it has been damaged. Your toughest choices are yet to come. Before you act, please think of the community first. How do your actions impact the whole? Sometimes we believe we are acting for the community, but it ends up only helping the individual and weakens the total. Jacques Monty turned and walked toward the meditation pod. Okay, I'm going to stop there. So that was, what page are we on? Come on. 10. Okay, so we're a little over halfway there, so we'll just stop there, probably 2,000 words. You know what? This is a compliment that I didn't want to stop reading. I think this is, you asked me to tell you if I thought this was boring. Actually, no. I found this enjoyable to read. Let's see, view, zoom. I don't know why it's struggling so hard to think. Hopefully it's not having too many problems. Maybe it could be my grammar. Okay. I have grammar. I have Pro Writer Aid in here, and it may be. Yeah, it may just be causing problems. Okay, this was a fun read. Okay, usually we don't jump into this too quickly, but let's jump into this. Okay, because we did read extra. I didn't really feel that there were problems with grammar. Okay, and since you asked the question, is this boring? Let's focus on a higher level and not the grammar. I apologize again for any mispronunciations. But okay, so what was awesome? It took a while, but oops, wrong. I did like the setting. It felt very future, utopian, authoritarian. A future utopian. I really liked it. Very, very futuristic. The jumpsuits, the band that went into the skin, it buzzing, the tapping for communication, and the phrases. Your phrases were really good because how you used specific words, I think, really lent well to established setting. Parental units, I think, is the major example. I felt like I was reading, no, I felt like they were Vulcans. They were almost androids. That these once humans were bereft of emotion that had been trained out of them, and that they were highly logical and cold and distant and not emotionally available. And so I liked Blaise. He was all right, but Jacques Monty, I really liked her as a parental unit. Um, I yeah, I think okay. So we have the three characters. Um, I kind of felt like it was a conversation between three Vulcans. The speech was very proper. It had a very strong voice, a unique voice, a voice of individuals who don't have emotion. So the way that you were using your words, using your phrases, using your speech, I think worked really well to help contribute to the um, the content and the mood of the story. Okay, what was boring? Waking up. Plus dressing. I have been advised, and I have received this feedback before, that one should not start a story with the main character waking up in the morning and getting dressed. One should not have that be the beginning of the story. It is an excellent opportunity to establish a scene in a bedroom, in a you can see them in the mirror. You can describe their body. She stretched her petite frame. Um, it was really good for world building because the triangles on the wall, the cleaning substance. Was she? I don't know if she was clothed or not. I mean, I really didn't think about it. I guess you didn't describe that she was wearing pajamas, but maybe that. I don't want to go back and parse that too closely, but I guess I'm presuming that she sleeps without clothing, gets up, does the whole pod cleansing powder thing, which I thought was very unique. Really got us jumped into the world quick to help us know things better, to say, oh, this is a different world. This is not regular. They don't take showers. They have cleansing powder blown all over them. I thought that was a really good world building. And then the description of the clothes, using the clothing as a hierarchy. I thought it was good. Sorry. And people do that. People use these wake up and dressing montages to help build the world. It's cliche and should be avoided. There's the term in media res, which means in the middle of the action. You could do the exact same type of thing instead of when waking up in an after school. She had a gym class and she was, you got to see her be physically active. She's doing stuff. You didn't tell us that she was physically stiff from the night before. We can actually see her being physically active, proactive, being dominant, being physical, and then she goes to a private cleansing stall, whatever you want to call it, and there we do the weird shower thing. And she gets dressed. I don't know about the modesty of the society, if communal showers or communal locker rooms, where then she can say, well, I have brown, or no, you said nude, uh, but I have brown boots. This person is blue. There could be a wide variety of uniforms. Instead of just seeing the one that she's getting dressed in, you could use that opportunity in a classroom getting done for the day. You can describe, oh, okay, this is how she is different. Would be able to see a little bit more of the society, because she's not alone in a bedroom. She's in the middle of the action, in the middle of the community, and there are more items, more players, more things to find interesting. Waking up in a bedroom is telling. Anything else anything that is show her get physically sore, show her all of these different things. The band, okay, and so all right, another thing. So that was kind of the boring part, because I read a lot of the things where, hey, let's wake up and have a protagonist. So I was kind of bored with that, but bored with the presentation, not the content. I still think that you have a lot of cool, interesting stuff in that bedroom, but I think you could demonstrate it similarly in another way. Confused. Okay, I will admit it took me a while to get used to the new language. It took me a while to get used to the formal speech. Oh, parental units. Oh, this. Oh, okay. It took me a while to warm up. That's normal, but I really think that your strong logic, strong lack of emotion description, almost robotic uh, language, I think helps speed up that process. It would be interesting, does she have an external voice and an internal dialogue? Are those two things different? Does the way she think in her brain sound completely different than the words coming out of her mouth? I don't know. I felt that the grammar was pretty good. I am a big fan of smaller paragraphs. I think the descriptions were good. There was a lot more telling as opposed to showing. You were explaining what was things. There was, especially in the bedroom before waking up, you were getting into a lot of the world building with the colors and the stuff like that. But I'm glad that you waited until seeing Blaze and Jacques Monty. You compared and contrast. You waited until they were present and you could see their stuff. You I would pick. I would probably, where you're introducing a lot of people quickly, I would probably decrease the number of details, but maybe hit them harder. Blazes, and I'm trying to do this from memory instead of going back and looking it up to see how well it impacted me. Blaze's uniform, the blue, the green emeralds. Okay, if you say the word emeralds, sapphires and emerald gems, you don't need the word gems. It's just sapphires and emeralds. We know what those are. You don't need to be redundant and say gems at the end. Sapphires and emeralds. We know what they are. Let's see. And it was a good description, how the different colors of gems make different thing. I liked his description of the uniform. I just kind of the pink uniform of Jacques Monty. She's pregnant, and because she's, I don't know, it was an assignment. It was a breeder. The fact that she was assigned to have a child was creepy. The fact that it was an assignment from the community really, it was creepily cool. Okay, the I called this a future utopian authoritarian utopia, but this is like full dystopia. Okay, it may not be your Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. It may not be your Judge Dredd. It might not be stuff like that. But this is, that very futuristic, authoritarian, everything's perfect because there is no war and bossing say type stuff. I just thought that was just really good vibe, and you really communicated that well. Yeah, I like that. But I really wasn't confused. But uh, delete the bedroom scene, the waking up scene again. Let's get into the. Let's just get into the middle of something. Have anywhere else besides the bedroom. Anything that's this conversation with Blaze and JM could have been her coming back at night after the Blaze's council meeting. It didn't have to be the council meeting from yesterday. It could be they were talking about how well the council meeting was going and she was being talked about. And they says, hey, we need you to talk to you before you go to bed type thing. That And that way, she's been active, she's been pursuing her goals, and then they bring her in to talk to her. I just think that would work. I think that would work better, as opposed to the standard wake up in the morning, getting breakfast, going to talk to the parental units before going with your friends, the friend. Okay. Um, wow, that's almost identical to a last story I read. Moonflower. Was it Moonflower? I think it was Moonflower's story. You had the female protagonist waking up, going talking to the parental unit, and then going to meet their friend. Yeah. Uh, yeah, at a high enough level, those are almost identical introductions to the same story, where you could change it about, hey, the tapping, oh, the buzzing, the tapping from a friend, oh, must mean I forgot something, or must mean, something, you know. So yeah. So this is his bedroom. Expand. Uh, what would I like to see expanded on? The hallway scene, when she was crossing the room, she was crossing the traffic to her parental unit door, or whatever. PU, parental units. Yep, PU. Okay, so I'd like to. I kind of would. I mean, having it was short, it was brief. I think that was okay. I kind of would like to have a little bit more understanding of this world, because when you say someone's waking up in their bedroom and outside is a whole stream of people who are silent and just moving along a walkway, and she has to cross this stream of humanity before going to her parents' pod, that's weird. That needs a little bit more explanation. Does she have her own unit? And is it just she has a studio apartment that happens to be close to her parental units? Uh, yeah. See, you started off with a very detailed talking about the bedroom. We expanded really huge about the hallway, and then we contracted tightly to just that story, the parental units area. The hallway intrigued me. The 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 drone-like, almost undead nature of humanity who just going along to follow the community, I think was creepy or intriguing, or both maybe. You can be intriguing and creepy. Okay. I guess I'd like to see that opportunity expanded. Now, if this was instead of walking, instead of just crossing the hallway from waking up, if we go back to that school example I was talking about, if she was walking home from school, there you could have the opportunity to talk about the drones in the street. You could talk about the different colors. You could, the wristband thing buzzing because of her friend, but then and she was about to make it to her door, and then her parents buzzed, and then she had to turn around and cross the hall, and so that way it's, she has a goal. What's her goal? What's her goal? Her goal in this story, I don't know what it was. She was waking up and getting ready for school. She was complaining about being, um, not being able to go outside. She had some complaints. She had some issues, but I don't know what her goal was. Whereas you could have her goal as, I just want to get into bed. That's all I need. I just need to go to sleep. Okay. the conflict, fighting against the swarm of the not dead drones. That could be a conflict. What's a disaster? I have to talk with my parent units. That could be a disaster in the scene sequel methodology. You could really, by following scene sequel, I think you could really solidify the intensity of it, because it didn't feel like she had a goal. But if you started off a story with, my goal is to go to sleep, or my goal is to stuff this proverbial basketball and dunk it on someone, that's a goal. I just want, have her want something, and have that want being something that reflects what's most important to her. Going to sleep, her goal is to get to bed. Her goal is to sneak out because she wants to skip. She's been in class all day. She wants to sneak out into the woods, and she's already got her backpack. She's got her boots, and she's just ready to drop off her school stuff at her room and just keep on going until she finds a mountain. That speaks volumes about who she is as a person, the goals, and why we should root for this character. And then the conflict is her trying to get there, the disaster her parents call her. Okay? So yeah, I think using the scene sequel really would help improve the excitement that can build up, the tension can build up, even on the smallest of scales. But yeah, I think that I would like to read more. Is this boring? No. I liked reading more of, I wanted to read a couple more words. You had that nice stopping place where Blaze left, and I stopped where Jacques Monty stopped. Excuse me. And so that was a good stopping point. But yeah, I want to know more. I want to learn more. So I think it was really good job that you did there. So please let me know if you have any questions, and we can talk about it more. And if you would like me to review this again, go ahead and make the changes you want and resubmit it at, wgc.bz/submit, where we can do a recritique again in the future, and then you can mark the only do this when I'm here thing, and we can go from there. So thank you so much, Vegan Atheist Coral, for sharing your 1,500 words in the Google Doc that I could critique it. I hope you have a great day, everyone. If you'd like to have your content critiqued, see the forum right there, and then we will keep going forward. And so thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day, and until next time, keep on writing.
Thanks for watching this feedback frenzy. Be sure to show your support by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell. WriterGreg offers coaching sessions to help bring your world to life, create compelling stories, and accomplish your creative goals. Please visit wgc.bz/coaching for more details.